Okay, so before I answer the question in the title of Is Terrifier 2 overrated, I'll first give a short synopsis of the film. Taking place 1 year after the events of Terrifier, Terrifier 2 follows Sienna and her younger brother Jonathan as they are plagued by nightmares and visions of Art the Clown. Is Art back, and will he unleash more hell on Miles County?
New Art Krispies from Sugar Plum. Fun little surprises in every bite. Glass, insects, and razor blades. There's no telling what you may find. Special prize included in every box.
Wow, I wonder what I got.
Speaking of surprises, kids, we have a very special guest with us today. Now, for a guy who doesn't speak, he sure makes a lot of noise. All the way from Miles County, please welcome Art the Clown.
Okay, so I got around to watching Terrifier 2 today, and I also watched the first Terrifier, which I hadn't seen before. I think that was probably good to do. I think a lot of what happened in Terrifier 1 sort of made you understand slightly better what's going on in Terrifier 2. Yeah, so the main question I've got in the title is, the question I've got in the title is Terrifier 2 overrated? I think the answer to that is absolutely. This film is seriously overrated. I do think there's been a lot of artificial hype to this film. People going to the cinema and seeing it and passing out and vomiting at how violent this film is. I think it's probably on par with, mostly on par with a Tarantino film, like, or maybe I think even Hostel and Saw are probably slightly more violent in this film. Obviously you've got films like a Serbian film which are just way more brutal than this one is. So I do think there's been a lot of artificial hype to this film. There is one scene halfway through the film which is, it's about halfway through, it's probably just under halfway through, it's an hour and 5 minutes, I just want to say it's an hour and 5 minutes into the film. It's the Sienna, the main girl in the film, who's been played by the visions of Art the Clown. Her best friend is murdered, and that scene is absolutely brutal. It is prolonged. It's just messed up on so many levels. You'll see what I mean. Like, just when you think it's over, the mum walks in and finds her daughter with Art the Clown next to her in bed, and it is absolutely messed up and brutal. That one scene, I'll give it to them there, that was absolutely messed up and just totally over the top. So definitely with that one, that was seriously one of the most deranged death scenes I've ever seen in a slasher film. So there is that one, but like I said, this is another reason. So it's not just that the film itself has been overhyped and sort of it seems like a manufactured hype around it. But I said it was halfway through, and that kills about an hour and 5 minutes into it. The film itself is actually about 2 hours and 20 minutes long. It's way too long. It's seriously too long. I was actually yawning like throughout the film. There's a part of the film where I thought, okay, it must be almost over now. And I looked at how long was left, and there was about 40 minutes left in this film. It is seriously way too long. This is a slow film. Art is barely in it. Art is maybe in it at best about 10% of the film, and he's carrying these films. He's by far the best part about these films. He's a great villain, and he's only in it sparingly. In the first hour, we barely see him. He's maybe in it for like 2 minutes. It is seriously a slow film, and it does feel a bit self-indulgent. It feels almost like it's trying to emulate sort of a slow burn A24 film, and I like A24 films. I like art house horror films, but this is not what I was expecting from this. I didn't actually know how long it was before watching it. When I saw it was 2 hours and 20 minutes long, I was thinking, oh god, why is it that long? Then I was thinking, alright, maybe we might learn a bit more about Art the Clown, and we might, delve into who he is and stuff, and maybe there might be an interesting lore in the film which takes a long time to explain. Not really. I mean, we don't really get much of that. What we do get is character development of the two main characters in this film, Sienna and her younger brother Jonathan. So there's a lot of character development there. Apparently their dad died, and he was obsessed with Art the Clown, and he had sketches of Art the Clown, and he was documenting the crimes of Art the Clown. And their dad eventually died in some sort of horrific car crash where he burned to death. And this takes up so much of the runtime of the film, and it makes it so slow. There's so much character development in this film, and it really comes to nothing. It basically leads up to, there's a sword that they have, that their dad had, which again, maybe it's explained in the film briefly, and maybe I just checked out by the point it's explained, but I don't think it was. So there's a sword in the film that their dad has which can kill Art the Clown, which leads to, spoiler alert, there's like a fantasy part at the end where Sienna, dressed almost like a sort of a Norse warrior, fights Art the Clown, and it's completely out of place. It's almost like the film becomes like some sort of fantasy movie at the end. I'm going into rant mode now, but just the final sort of confrontation, the final battle between Sienna and her brother and Art, it's like 45 minutes long. It's seriously about 45 minutes long. So the end battle takes place in like a haunted house ride called the Terrifier, and in like a fun fairground and like a theme park kind of place. It's about 45 minutes long, and it is so, even Art, as good as Art is, Art's an amazing slasher villain. I think he could become an icon. I was even getting bored of Art on screen. It was so long. It was so bloody long. The last act of this film. I'm not even joking. 45 minutes, and it just goes on and on and on and on. And it could have been easily 10 minutes. I mean, this film really should have been. I enjoyed Terrifier a lot more. It's more of the sort of what you'd expect from a slasher which doesn't take itself too seriously. The first Terrifier is like 90 minutes long. I think it's even less. I think it's like 80 minutes long. I can't emphasize enough. 2 hours and 20 minutes long this is, and the whole first hour is just so boring. It is so boring. The film does start in a sort of dark, deranged kind of way. The film initially starts right after the end of the first one, and it starts in the pathologist's sort of the coroner's office, where Art sort of, is brought back to life by something. He comes back to life. And there's a sort of brutal death scene in that where he kills the pathologist and like rips out his eyes and his brains. Initially I thought that was like his Art kind of like the Creeper or something, where he can use human body parts and attach them to himself. So what he does is he sticks the pathologist's eye into where his eye was missing from the last film. And then I thought, oh, is that what he's doing? He's putting like his eye into the pathologist's eye into his socket, and he can use it as his own eye now. And then the next shot, he's like not got the eye, so I was like confused about that. And then there's like a scene after that where Art's in the laundrette, and cleaning his clown costume or something, and he gets a vision of a young girl clown. So he's playing patty cakes with this young girl clown, and there's someone else in the laundrette, and they look at him, and there's no girl there. So he's seen this vision of a little creepy girl clown. She was really good in the film. I think that I'm not really too sure. I think it was a missing girl who may be one of Art's early victims or something. This clown is, but Art's got a companion in this film. He's got like a sidekick of a little girl clown in this film. And he's playing patty cakes with this little girl in this laundrette, and then so there's another person in the laundrette, and they look at Art, and he's basically playing patty cakes with himself. So I thought it could have been interesting, like an interesting sort of little thing where Art sees visions, and I thought, okay, maybe we're now like seeing the film from Art's perspective in this film, and maybe that's why it's longer, because we're like getting to know Art a bit better. We're getting inside Art's head, and we're describing the sort of lore behind what Art actually is. Is he human? Is he some like alien or creature or some interdimensional creature or something. But really, we don't really learn anything much about that. It cuts away from that, and then we have this story about Sienna and Jonathan, and it's all character development from there on. It's like an hour of character development of these two characters, which eventually doesn't lead anywhere. Yeah, so Art's an incredible villain. David Howard Thornton, is that his name? Who plays Art? Yeah, David Howard Thornton. He does an incredible job. I mean, there's something about Art on screen, especially before I was getting bored of the film, and then you did see the glimpses of, or the short scenes of Art. It's like this villain is incredible. Just, it looks like a horror icon. It's like a new style horror icon. It's like definitely, you know, it's like seeing a Freddy or a Jason or a Michael Myers on screen. Definitely, this character is an icon. And also, another thing that has to be said is the practical effects are absolutely amazing, and I'll take practical effects over CGI anytime. They are incredible, and I think it's the director who did the practical effects as well. Damien Leone, I think he did the practical effects, and it is incredible. So yeah, I mean, I would say like you should definitely see this if you're a horror fan, because you know there's not that many low budget films which are not using CGI anymore, and this one does the practical effects absolutely incredibly. So I would say if you're into practical effects, definitely see it, and for Art the Clown as well. But apart from that, like, the film itself is so long. It's, again, I think Damien, the director, has been a bit self-indulgent with this one. I think he's tried to be a bit pretentious. You'll see what I mean. There's the sort of hallucination scenes, or the nightmare scenes that Sienna has. It's like, I don't know what it's about. It's so, it's like he's trying to be an auteur with this film, and it's like he's completely abandoned the tone of the original film. So yeah, that was what I would say. I would say this film is vastly overrated, but I still do like it. I would probably give it a 6 out of 10.